Once upon a time, there was an anime that aired. I, as a lover of all things fantasy, watched it. I regret watching it, because for the most part, the anime was pretty bad. I cannot recommend watching Tower of Daruga, the Aegeus of Aruk, or the sequel, The Sword of Aruk. However, there was one scene that I absolutely loved, and it's a trope that brings me infinite joy. Before we get started, I'd like to quickly ask you to like and subscribe. I've been very happy with the growth this channel has had so far, and I'm excited to see where we're going. If you're looking for ways to support this channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. There are several tiers to choose from. You can pick an anime or manga for me to do a video about, or you can join our monthly manga club. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. Let me give you the setup. Spoilers for Tower of Daruga. The anime is about a bunch of heroes who climb the tower and defeat the monster at the top. However, the beginning of Season 2 shows that the king, the previous hero who became king after he conquered the tower 50 years ago, stole the credit and forced the heroes to keep quiet. So now the heroes are working in an inn together. Well, one day, the king decides to get rid of all the evidence and sends his troops to go kill the people who run the inn. Unfortunately, these people are heroes. In RPG terms, they're all max-level characters who have retired from adventuring. And the king just sent a bunch of low-level NPCs to kill them. Needless to say, it doesn't go well for the guards. The image of the warrior wielding a broom and cleaving through groups of guards is forever burned in my brain, and I love it. I adore this trope. The idea that the murder hobo players in a D&D game trying to rob a magic shop but don't realize that the mage who runs the shop is actually 10 levels higher than them, or has set booby traps beyond the skills of the rogue so the party dies when trying to rob the place, is hilarious to me. Years ago, I ran a D&D game where a great worm blue dragon polymorphed himself into a dwarven blacksmith because he enjoyed working at the forge. One of my players made the perception roll and realized that this wasn't just a dwarf and became much more respectful. And before any of you whine in the comments about, that's not how perception works, first of all, this was 3.5, not 5th edition, and second of all, the DM's word is law. Now, I cannot recommend watching Tower of Daruga. The show is bad. It's based on an old arcade game, I'm talking from the early 1980s here. But that one scene has stuck with me for years and still makes me chuckle to think of it. And that feeling was freshly felt again when I first read Now I'm a Demon Lord, Happily Ever After with Monster Girls in my dungeon. I've talked about this series before. I've been reading both the manga version and the fan-translated web novel for years. I absolutely adore it. And now you can read an official copy of the light novel over on Bookwalker. Additionally, Volume 2 of the light novel comes out on November 1st. I'm very excited for new readers to meet the girl on the cover, but I won't say who it is. I want to avoid spoilers, so I'll only talk about specific events that happened right at the beginning of the first novel, as well as the overall feel of the series. Yuki wakes up in a room that can only be described as a throne room. Yes, this is another isekai. Deal with it. He finds out that he's a demon lord and that this is his dungeon. The core behind the throne, a glowing crystal ball, is his heart, and if it's destroyed, he will die. But as he grows more powerful, so too does his dungeon, and vice versa. He plays with the menu for a bit, then goes to bed. The next day, Yuki heads outside to explore the area around his dungeon, and meets the Supreme Dragon. Lephaseos, the most powerful being on the planet. She is the queen of all dragons, ruler of the skies, and the terror of all mankind. And she doesn't like the idea of a demon lord living in her territory. Yuki, thinking fast, realizes he smells honey on her breath. So using the dungeon system, he's able to create things that he knows about, including items from his previous world. When he wanted to go to sleep the night before, he was able to create a futon and a pillow. Once again, he uses his creation magic to create a chocolate bar, and uses the promise of chocolate to convince Lephaseos to not eat him. Lephaseos agrees not to eat him, and is enchanted with the taste and sweetness of chocolate. She transforms into a humanoid, and Yuki quickly makes her clothes. Lephaseos also declares that she'll be living with him from now on. Yuki decides to call her Leffy. Lephaseos is quite a mouthful. And he now has a lazy, useless, all-powerful dragon living with him. This series is an adorable slice-of-life isekai with a bit of action, a bit of romance, and a whole ton of comedy. The jokes are many and varied, everything from a dragon in a seiza pose apologizing for eating all the food, whoever heard of a dragon apologizing for their greed and gluttony, to the fetishization of wings, something both Yuki and Luffy are guilty of. If you're wanting an amazing story with over-the-top action, this series does have some of that, but it's mostly just about having fun. The characters are delightful, the setting is interesting, and I'm always excited when a new volume drops. You can head on over to Bookwalker and pick up Volume 1 now, so that you'll be ready for Volume 2 when it comes out in a few weeks. Link in the description below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Jiraiya, Waffles, Muffins, Casey, Danny, Nick, Marcus, Black Dragon, Phoenix of Ice, and Daniel. You guys are awesome. I post anime or manga videos every Monday, or you can click here to watch additional videos. Also, I moved all of my Commander content over to a new channel, Commander by Danon. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Musings by Danon.